What's up, guys? Just going to be doing a general overview check-in for all signs. Feel free to like, share, follow, reach out for a one-on-one reading. Love and light to you guys, especially those that have been in isolation or feel like they've been going through a hard time. My heart goes out to you. So I hope that you can enjoy this content. And I hope that it provides some sort of kind of relief to you or what have you, as it does for me. So yeah, I mean, a little bit about myself, kind of going through this phase and period of isolation. I think a big one for me is just, tired of trying to normalize the chaos of this realm that we inhabit. To me personally, the whole COVID thing is just gaslighting humanity. My personal view and standpoint on it has been that whether you believe that there are certain powers that be or not, I don't feel like they have people's interests at heart. So that being said, everything that we're kind of going through as a people globally does tend to kind of boil down into factions of good versus evil, or people that create chaos versus people that attempt to create order. And even with trying to create order is this kind of encroaching upon personal rights and freedoms. I feel as though, humanity is in this kind of turnover and transition period. But a big thing for me is, again, I got out of bed earlier today. I had to take a nap because I've just been feeling a little bit, wear and tear or what have you. But, just working a lot because I'm doing this full time. I'm doing food deliveries full time as a means of, making overhead, paying the bills, making a living out in LA by myself. No friends, no family, really not in contact with any friends or family. For a lot of reasons, I think that my parents come from a generation, first and foremost, where they didn't have a game plan for their children. They come from large families of 12 siblings, Mexican American, Roman Catholic, old school, traditional. My dad was born in 50, my mom was born in 60. I was born in 89. And so, the 90s were kind of a period of excess, I think, in Western humanity culture, specifically in the U.S., but maybe even around the world as a whole. And so, hold on, let me just take my glasses off and put on my contacts. I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, that's a little bit better. So I just put my contacts on because of the glare of my glasses. I probably should have done that earlier. But, so yeah, I mean, I had somewhat of a kind of stifled upbringing. My dad is very kind of silent type, kind of a deadbeat, to be honest. He was always just kind of there on the couch. He's a butcher. He, worked in Chicago, or was a butcher. He's retired now. I think he's 70-something now. And not to, shortchange him or just broad stroke him, but, there are certain things that can be said, and if those things can be said, then those things are said. My mom was kind of overbearing, overprotective, not really. I think as most parents that came up in the 90s, as far as like starting their family, most of humanity, has changed so drastically in regards to the information that we're all exposed to that you can't really kind of turn back and expect people to know any better. But we're at a period of, I think, kind of ideological crises, division, split, chaos. In a way, I think that our kind of inner child is searching for order. I think, obviously my inner child, I think all of our inner child, there's the chaos of TikTok and everyone has a voice on Twitter, and the kind of cultural degradation of Instagram and pornography and drugs and isolation. And so I had a thought getting out of bed earlier today. Like I said, I took a nap because I was kind of tossing and turning. The night before, didn't sleep good. And at the time of this recording, it's like 1 in the morning. It's like 12:30 at night, almost 1 in the morning, going into Thursday. But so I took a nap at like 9 p.m. and sometimes you need self-talk and mental gymnastics, and believe me, I'm the king of that. I'm the master of that. But I wanted to at least speak and vocalize about the fact of like, there's both the pros and the cons of normalization. The con being where we have a lot of things that are kind of unspoken to and there's not a voice given to them. The pros being, I think, that it's a human characteristic and trait that we have so as to continue to keep on moving forward and not have like nervous breakdowns every turn of the corner. So that's good, but I also think that if you have the kind of gift of gab like I do, or if you're able to articulate some sanity, then you should definitely do it. So my ex-girlfriend picked up and left just before Thanksgiving 2021 this past year. It's 2022, February 3rd, I think, technically. So at the time of this recording, so I was already on a social limb anyways. My girlfriend before that, I had relocated to LA from Chicago in 2015. Moved my job, from the southwest suburbs of Chicago. And I think before that even, I was living at home still. I moved home from college to help my family pay the bills because my mom got laid off in 2009 with the great kind of recession that happened then. And the bubble went pop from like that 90s dream and whatever. So that caused a falling out between her and my father, and they were still together, but when the money dries up, then the blame game, that's when that starts. So my dad, as it is, wasn't really a great father to the extent of like being there and coaching me up or vocalizing. You have the excuses of, well, his dad wasn't there, and being a child, one of 12, and same thing with my mom. Like, they kind of just factory assembly line, shot out kids, and, had to educate themselves in a lot of regards. But I think there was a lack of, like, normalcy, primarily. There was a lot of alienation. My dad especially, Mexican-American descent, not having a great grasp of the English language, consumed English American culture and music and language, but still kind of having a thick, heavy accent and kind of a Cro-Magnon Neanderthal type. Whereas my mom was, is very much more ambitious, family-oriented, bakes every Christmas cookies and, has a big kind of putting together of a Christmas cooking, baking tradition, and gives cookies to like both sides of the families and friends and all that stuff. But so she's of a very kind of giving nature. She's a Cancerian sign. My dad's a Scorpio. I'm an Aries. But, point being is that that does kind of, in a way, cause a little bit of a bipolarism. I don't think on a technicality, but you have someone who's kind of a mute, just works, very kind of quiet, maybe quietly opinionated, but not articulate, in my dad. And then a mother who's kind of very overbearing, and yet both parents not really having an interest in me, middle child, only son. And I have an older sister and a younger sister, but I think I was like the black sheep of the family by default. I got into experimentation at an early age in high school with like drugs and drinking and all that stuff. Nothing that hard, but I think the hardest thing was like ecstasy and cocaine, believe it or not. But I think I did coke when I was like 14 for the first time. Started smoking and drinking and smoking weed and cigarettes in high school. I want to say like second half of freshman year, and when you kind of come up in a culture of like the silent majority or the silent type, or the, where you don't really give voice, then there is this kind of cognitive dissonance in regards to the craziness that you've actually been through. And so, just kind of being able to voice my backstory. And like I said, I went to a prestigious school in Chicago, at least that's what I was told, DePaul University. Got a creative writing degree, major, minor in philosophy. Started working at the age of 18 while juggling school full-time. In an office environment. My mom, worked in, my older sister worked in downtown Edelman at the Aeon Center from like 07 to like, 2019 technically, December, but by 2015 is when I relocated that job. So, bad drinking habits in high school kind of bled into a hellish kind of decade-plus career in the office, because I had bad habits. I had bad drinking habits on weekdays by then, college party lifestyle atmosphere, when I was going through college, from, what do you go through college, 18 to 22 or something? And, psychedelic mushrooms, which I kind of love the fact that it kind of opened up my mind. I think marijuana did that too in high school. Access to the internet, watching crazy documentary movies like Zeitgeist back when it came out in like 09, I think, where it kind of just pulls back the curtain and the veil on all of, society and the social hierarchy and structure and all that. Really kind of challenging the core central beliefs that I, up until that point, have been raised on, which is like Roman Catholicism. And that movie actually kind of peeled back the veil and essentially articulates how all religion is pagan astrology worship, which is interesting because, I do remember when I was working in the office, I would always like check my tarot and my astrological horoscope, and then flash forward years later, I started reading tarot and actually dabbling in astrology and connecting the two and realizing how they're connected. And I think all of that kind of bleeds into like a bigger skeptical, keen eye of awareness, maybe at times pessimism, but of the kind of overall overarching, reaching hierarchical structure of society and humanity's history. And maybe a little bit of dealing with like intellectual lightweights and having to kind of dumb myself down or not articulate kind of big picture conversations such as this. But needless to say, the kind of bottom line quantification of saying that there's something deeply wrong in this world is not enough, and I think hence why there needs to be some sort of like spiritual adaptability and kind of quantification. and henceforth like an interpretation of what this life is, which may be a spiritual war of some sorts. But I think it also could be said in like a Freudian or Jungian way of explanation, that primarily the war is with yourself, as the natives say, like, which wolf are you feeding? Are you feeding the one of like envy, hate, and sorrow, or the one of like love, joy, and peace and harmony? So it's the age-old battle, I think, within ourselves. But I like to think tarot is a doorway to that kind of semblance of spirituality and coping with the journey of life, but also in this new technological availability of having formats such as this, where you can say to yourself and others, like, you're not crazy. We're living in a crazy, fucked up time. And I think we need to connect more. When I say comment, like, share, follow, part of that is, this is the kind of depth that's under those words, so to speak. But, how do you go about this kind of uncharted territory where you kind of lay out who you are and where you come from? So, but, definitely I think part of, like, what this person, this being that I'm experiencing as myself, as my journey, as we all are in particular, I think I am going through a period of like isolation for sure. Like I said, friends and family. The reason I put quotes is because, those connections are essentially lost. Like, I had a childhood friend try to reconnect the other day. He was in Los Angeles from Chicago on vacation. And he reached out, and I didn't even respond. And I think a part of that is because I know him for very much so still being in the kind of drinking, drug culture lifestyle. Whereas me, I'm sober, like coming up on 2 years, like in March, I think, which is pretty cool. Congrats to me. No smoking cigarettes, no drinking, no nothing. Even after like a devastating breakup where my ex just kind of picked up and left, I'm actually still in the same apartment. I've been trying to like get the ball rolling on relocating to Phoenix, but that takes like $3,000 and all this craziness. But also kind of trying to straddle the line between, not having to go and get a traditional 9 to 5, because I don't like the idea of somebody treating me like, hey, get up at this time and report here, and wag their finger at me. Like, I feel like I've done that, all my life. We all have, right? But, I feel like I was able to make it this far in the sense of being able to kind of work for myself and be free to some extent. I found 2 psychic lines to read for. Thank God that was a heaven sent. And, like I said, doing food deliveries, just a lot of time to, to create and conduct a lifestyle that apparently this is how I live. When left to my own devices, I dabble in music, poetry. I played basketball for the first time in like forever long this past Sunday, which was super cool. And my right foot is like shot, like my heel is like so many years of wear and tear, like sports athletics. I played tennis in high school, but I just wanted to share a little bit of kind of, what goes on within myself, because I know it's all like just tarot. But, there's a person behind here with a lifetime of experiences, as with, everybody, I suppose. But, I think living by myself, not having friends or family or people that I even talk to, like my neighbors or anything like that. Really only, I watch a lot of comedy podcasts like Adam Carolla and stuff. And I pick and choose to agree and align with certain viewpoints and outlooks, but ultimately I don't think that there is a voice, or like your Joe Rogans, and like I I listened to Joe Rogan since back in like '09 when he started his podcast. But at the office that I worked, I would listen to him on YouTube, and Vimeo and stuff. But I don't think that there's a voice that's as like hardcore, like conspiracy or spiritualist. I mean, you hear some wild shit like on TikTok and whatever. But, nowadays, YouTube pulling videos for commenting on, the world that's taken away free speech, essentially. So I think you are kind of seeing, if you are playing the narrative of, historically what's going on. I think we also have a choice to kind of switch channels and view things through like matrix code and symbolically try to interpret what things represent, as opposed to literal, there's an actual person here that believes in, XYZ or whatever. Because a lot of times people are just expressions for energy, What are you harboring? What are you holding? What are you really about, essentially? And I don't know what it is. I don't know what the 21st century is, to the extent of maybe feeling like you're so far down a rabbit hole or so far down some sort of exclusivity understanding of the state of the current world, where like there's no one that relates with you and your thinking. But what you do know is that you're tired of kind of being silent and trying to normalize, like, first and foremost, I know in the bottom of my heart, and maybe part of me doesn't want to say this, but I don't believe that the government has people's interests in heart. I much so lean more so towards the conspiratorial side of understanding things, but I also believe that spirituality trumps all of that, and love, conquers all. And as much as things are out of our time in regards to manifestation, whether it be like money and bill concerns and things like that, human beings are a very interesting creature that has a lot of kind of durability and ability to endure craziness and construct narratives and storytelling and emotive institutions, incentives, and structures within themselves. And so a lot can be made out of that, in regards to kind of personal perseverance, which I think is like the backbone to success. So it's very funny that, my father being a point of contention much of my life, and his lack of words, or advice or coaching or support or presence, or being present emotionally or whatever, verbally, or he'll say short things like, don't quit, or like, don't give up. Don't give up, and you're just like, fuck, man, like there's still a seed and a kernel of truth in those little short statements or sayings. So it's kind of funny how it all comes full circle. But yeah, I'm just trying to grow this channel, get a bunch of views, monetize that. But that's not, like, I don't, practically speaking, think that this is necessarily going to be monetized, because you need like 4,000 hours view. I feel like if that does happen in this lifetime, that would be like 20 years from now at the rate that I'm going, because it's just, you're up against so much content. People are so I feel like most people are nowhere as deep in the rabbit hole as I am, as far as their understanding and their outlook of what's going on in this modern day and age. Maybe future generations will look back at this, but or who knows, maybe this is like the next kind of Joe Rogan, live and in person, talking to you right now, to the extent of, having a certain mind, or maybe, that can articulate for others, or, I don't know, at least be a channel that can give a voice to others, or others can watch and agree to some extent. But I guess the good and the bad thing about the tarot is that it really kind of, in a lot of ways, it is archetypical. It's generic, but that could be good too. It could be beneficial. I think, almost like biblically, it's representative of certain truths and edicts that are universal and timeless, which is why we kind of refer to it. And I think like the kind of mainstream, like sugar rendition of tarot and magic and manifestation is the kind of like, I'm going to manifest, my bills to be paid or something like that. And maybe it's a part of the human nature and condition to, when something doesn't go our way, kind of reconstruct the narrative in hindsight. But, who knows, that might be a part of our abilities as well. So, some food for thought. But, yeah. It's been a wild, wacky journey. Let's refer to some tarot. So yeah, if you feel like everything's kind of shit show and crazy, and it's probably because we're being lied to, and I think the mainstream media wants us to go insane and kill ourselves, and I really do, which is all the more reason to just live. You win by just existing and living, and it's sugar on top. If you could choose to be happy and content and trust in something that you might not be able to understand. So whether it's founded in reality or not, it's like, does it matter? Does it matter if Santa Claus is real? If you're tapped into the spirit of giving and joy and love and harmony and bliss and all that beautiful stuff. So don't believe the hype. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. It's all just trying to trigger you to self-destruct or reside in fear and division. And so you have to understand those demons within you as well. So you kind of get a handle and hang on your ego as well. So, but anyways, let's see what the cards want to say. I try to do this thing where when I shuffle, I kind of understand the cards to be in the realm of quantum possibility. I like to think that I could tune into that in regards to my life as well, and all the crazy fantasies and fanciful things that one would desire in their life, and I'm already there, and thank you, and gratitude, and all that kind of Joe Dispenza shit. And like, everything's effortless. I don't resonate in the frequency of worry. I resonate in the frequency of having and abundance and all that stuff. So I think we're just constantly like walking ourselves, and we have our own leashes in our mouth, and that's kind of what being an adult is, I think, at times. Writing code and narrative, and it's not the unknown. It's not how am I going to pay my bills. It's blessed, abundance, joy, or whatever. So let's see what occurs. Let's see what wants to come up. And it's funny because you have like as with me as well, you have all these tarot readers and you see their little idiosyncrasies and the level that they're at in their ego journey and their life journey. And it's everybody. No one is free from that. Okay, Five of Pentacles in the reverse, going into the Church of Self. Five of Cups in the upright. This is salvaging something emotionally invested in. Ace of Wands in the upright. This is a new start, a new beginning, new incoming energy. Four of Cups in the upright, not being emotionally receptive to something new. Okay. Choosing the route of emotional independence instead. Okay, Three of Wands is union, as well as waiting for your blessings to come in and or having your eye on new horizons. Okay. Okay, you probably have time away from a soulmate or a twin flame or a soul connection. But you are more than ripe for the picking. So much so that you might have negative expressions or may even be jaded with human connection. You feel as though maybe no one invested in you and that you are succumbing to or conquering this kind of insurmountable personal internal victory with the Six of Wands and the reverse, having to walk away from previously understood established forms of understanding emotionally. Your environment could be walking away from this apartment. Everything's holographic, so my story is your story, not to a T, but the human story of walking away from an apartment that housed a relationship that I used to have with my girlfriend, that she picked up and tore my heart out. Woke up one morning to her friends moving things out of our apartment and me just trying to talk some sense into her in front of strangers. I didn't know her friends. We weren't the same. Like I said, I don't know if it's a mainstream thing. I don't know if it's a race thing or thinking mainstream versus thinking very deep, or I don't know. But there's just certain people, certain groups of people, types of people that you just don't talk to. And I think part of the problem was that even with my girlfriend at the time, we didn't share the same viewpoint or perspective, and maybe that caused, I don't know if it was a political chasm within us, but I think we subscribed to just completely different narratives of why the world is the way it is, and especially during COVID times and all that shit, all that bullshit. There's some sense of feminine stability. I think that maybe you're making a home for yourself. With the Queen of Pentacles in the upright, this is still a very kind of generous and caring nature. Could be mother energy as well. The sun energy here, childlike sun as well. As far as childlike spirit, wonder, and awe, somebody could be coveting you from afar, loving you or concerned about you or wanting to take care of you. I think it's a part of just knowing that you're loved, You also have the Empress here. This is a very powerfully impactful, divine, feminine archetype. It could be the feminine energy within yourself, or again, a mother figure or a loving soulmate. There's a sense of sobriety, or after the holidays, or after a party where reality is settling in. It's an energy of reduction, drawing to the Two of Cups, pointing to the Two of Cups. Excuse me, I accidentally hit pause. on the recording, but pointing to the Two of Cups, I should say. Three of Cups is in the reverse, which is a soulmate connection, new business, new contracts, could be new romance, yada yada. Confidence, Aquarius energy there, Capricorn, Aquarius energy. Is the King of Swords. It's a masculine energy. It could be a sharp, analytical energy. Second and third chances could be your ex. Manifesting with the Magician. Lack of union, falling out. Okay, so maybe this is just resonating in the past more. Speaking to somebody acting out immaturely in the past with the Nine of Cups in reverse, walking away, leading to heartbreak. Yada, yada, yada. We know the story. Six of Swords in the reverse is internal harmony, offset by the 3 in the upright. That's 3 in the reverse, coming out of heartbreak, crossroads decision, looking to the future, but trying to get your finances balanced, trying to get your money right, coming out of worry. There's an offer coming. Okay, out of the blue here with the Ace of Cups. That's what we like to see. Someone investing in you. Maybe emotionally, maybe love-wise. 8 of Wands in the upright. This was incoming communication, coming out of a challenging time or a time of objection or obstacle. Justice being brought to you. Objective justice, I suppose. Scales of Libra weighing sin versus merit, head versus heart, order versus chaos. Ace of Swords is internal truth and clarity in regards to a soulmate. So maybe, coming across a soulmate and doing that dance again. Someone's blinded to something. Okay. Blinded to the potential of a happy family here with the 10 of Cups in the upright. Traveler energy. Maybe at a ways away, distance away, divine timing. Maybe somebody was a distance away and now they're back to finish an incomplete cycle with the World card in reverse. Unfinished business on the home front with the Hermit card in reverse. Self-sabotage with the 10 of Swords in reverse. Someone holding on to the bitterness and resentment. Grass is always greener energy. So maybe someone's bitter and chained to this kind of myopic nearsightedness. Someone is rushing to them, and where they have an enthusiasm about what a connection is, even though it's low vibrational. Emotional fears and unknowns here. Expansion, growth, travel, more decision. Okay, freeing yourself through enlightenment, or jumping into a kind of a karmic relationship again. You may hear from this person. Maybe they'll propose to you, or maybe they want something serious like marriage. They could be kind of caught up in the subjectivity of it all, whereas you're trying to heal or wish for these kind of big dreams, essentially, these big wishes. With the Star card in the upright, it represents wishing upon a star. And just like having a big dream or like a big picture ideal. It could be relocating, it could be collaborating with people of your ilk, finding a sense of stability and growth, not having a platform to jump off of, and yet some sort of victory, maybe in the form of hitching your wagon to someone else, or being able to escape some sort of fallout before it occurs, which has been kind of resonating in the ether lately. I saw a TikTok refer to that. What's this? Okay, it has to do with work, finding healthy outlets and expression, discipline over the self, somebody seeing your work, the King of Wands. Okay, more bullshit. Okay, yeah, we know that. Okay, narrowing down. Someone evaluating your rebirth and seeing how badass you are, even though you've cut them out. How you're kind of channeling into your Emperor energy. Them not being as spiritual as you are. And yet you somehow, being the Omega Man, the last man standing, Ten of Pentacles in the upright, Queen of Cups in the upright, Gemini, Cancerian energy. I'm a Cancerian moon. Tapped into your masculine energy. I'm an Aries as well. Shout out to the OG Emperor, the Aries sign right there. Still coveting something, okay? With the Queen of Cups, I think this is a dream or an ideal, a la the Star card in the upright, which we saw. So, by some miracle, zigzag chance, you being able to kind of pull the nose of this diving plane up at the last second to establish your 10 Pentacles here. This is the Merkaba, the Tree of Life, all these kind of spiritual insane gymnastics that you have to do. Call it faith or trust in something outside of yourself, wonder and awe, and like not taking things for granted, all that stuff. So I think it's cool. At the end of the day, you end with the Queen of Cups in the upright. Again, this energy of coveting something. It could be a dream. When you hold on to your dream, you don't tell people. And it leads to this Ten of Pentacles, which is a success. And nothing to speak of, disaster, really. I mean, I feel as though with the Tower card and whatever the card that was next to it that we spoke to, it was kind of an avoiding of that or being able to get out of the way of that. But we're not afraid of tower moments. We've built our life on tower moments. You just kind of destroy and rebuild, and I think maybe that's why you ended with the Ten of Pentacles in the upright. That is a cornerstone, family foundation, legacy, inheritance. But the fact that the Emperor is at the end there, I think it's like the masculine is carving that way so that the feminine can covet the home that's being built. But I'm getting that as more of a kind of internalized masculine and feminine as opposed to I'm getting that more so as a single person being able to do that on their own as opposed to having to compromise or having to give their leash to someone else for someone else to be their dog walker. Be your own dog walker. Put that leash in your mouth. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you've lasted here thus far, you're a real one. Like, share, comment, follow, reach out for one-on-one reading. Love you guys. Holler at your boy. Peace.